Karen told the neighborhood my wife was cheating, untrustworthy, and even dangerous to kids. Her lies nearly destroyed our lives. Until we took her to court and exposed every word. She thought she could humiliate us. Instead, we made her the face of the biggest defamation case in HOA history. If you love watching arrogant people get humbled, hit that subscribe button and tell us in the comments. Where are you watching from today? We read every one of them. When my wife and I moved into our new neighborhood, we thought we'd finally found peace. After years of saving, we bought a modest but beautiful 2-story home at the edge of a cul-de-sac, perfect for raising our 2 daughters. The house came with a tight-knit community and an HOA, which at first seemed harmless. But on day 3, we met Karen. She walked up with her clipboard and designer sunglasses, introduced herself as the acting HOA president, and gave us a stack of guidelines thicker than a phone book. She eyed my wife up and down, dressed in a floral dress and sun hat while gardening, and smirked. "So you're the housewife?" she said flatly. "Nice to meet you." From that moment, something in her gaze made it clear she'd chosen us as a target. At first, it was subtle. Karen would accidentally send my wife duplicate HOA violation notices for leaving flower pots too close to the walkway. She once called animal control on our dog for barking at squirrels. But it escalated the day Karen saw my wife hug a friend goodbye at our front door, a friend who happened to be a tall man. The next morning, whispers started. The woman next door avoided eye contact. Another neighbor uninvited us from a community cookout. Then someone told my wife they hoped her affair wouldn't impact the kids. She was devastated. I started asking questions. That's when I found out Karen had been telling people my wife was sleeping around, bringing strange men into the house when I was gone, even hinting that she might be mentally unstable. Karen spread this to the HOA board, the neighborhood moms group, even the school PTA. My wife's reputation, the woman who volunteered at the library, baked for fundraisers, and helped elderly neighbors with groceries, was being We demanded a retraction. Karen scoffed, claiming, "People can say what they want. Maybe she shouldn't act suspicious." We contacted the HOA board, but they refused to intervene, saying it was a personal matter. My wife stopped going outside. She cried herself to sleep. Even our girls noticed the whispers. Then it got worse. Karen filed a formal complaint, alleging my wife was creating emotional instability in the community, and said we should be removed from the HOA rolls. That's when I had enough. I gathered every shred of evidence, screenshots of Karen's public posts, texts from neighbors saying, "Karen told us this," and even a recording from a neighbor's Ring camera that caught her gossiping at our front door. Then, I did what she never expected. I filed a lawsuit, not against the HOA, against Karen, for defamation of character. Our lawyer, a longtime friend who had handled local libel cases, assured us we had a rock-solid case. The lawsuit was delivered straight to Karen's door. The expression on her face, shock, then panic. She tried to rally the neighborhood behind her, calling it an overreaction. But when depositions started, the truth came flooding out. Neighbors confessed they heard everything from her mouth. Screenshots showed how she'd even contacted people outside the HOA with her rumors. Her voice, her posts, her words, all documented. My wife stood in that courtroom with grace, her name dragged through the mud, but unbroken. Karen, once the queen bee of the HOA, was now squirming under oath. When our lawyer read aloud her exact words about my wife, her attorney buried his face in his hands. The judge didn't need much time. Karen was found liable for defamation. She was ordered to issue a public written apology, pay a hefty settlement of $185,000, and cover our legal fees. But more than that, she was forced to stand before the HOA. She once ruled and read her apology out loud. The fallout from the lawsuit didn't just hit Karen. It sent shockwaves through the entire For years, she'd manipulated people, intimidated newcomers, and ruled with passive-aggressive control. But now, with her lies exposed in public court documents and her carefully constructed persona shattered, neighbors began stepping forward with their own stories. One couple revealed she'd falsely accused them of theft. Another man said she lied about his teen daughter smoking behind the pool house, just to get them fined. The HOA board, once spineless under her thumb, finally acted. She was voted out in a rare emergency session. Her position as HOA president was revoked, her access to the HOA account and platform removed, and she was formally banned from speaking at any board meetings for 2 years. Her social circle vanished. No more afternoon gossip walks or garden club invites. Even her closest allies stopped responding to her texts. The same people who once believed her lies now looked at her with open contempt. My wife? She rose above it all. After the verdict, she received handwritten notes of apology from several neighbors, even an invitation to join the PTA board that once doubted her. At a neighborhood block party, she was honored with a community award. Not for the court case, but for her resilience, grace, and kindness, even in the face of public humiliation. Karen still lives in the neighborhood. Though in near isolation, she walks her dog quickly, eyes down, avoiding interaction. Her once perfect garden is now overgrown, her front porch empty. She tried to appeal the verdict but failed. My wife, meanwhile, started a local podcast on standing up against toxic neighborhood politics and bullying. And her first episode went viral. Karen's name isn't mentioned in it, but everyone knew. The best part? My wife never stooped to Karen's level. She didn't scream, didn't fight dirty. She'll let the truth and the law do the talking. And when Karen finally handed over the $185,000 settlement check, it felt like justice. But not just financial justice, spiritual justice, emotional justice, proof that the lies someone tries to bury you with can end up burying them instead. We used part of the money to start a scholarship for local girls interested in law and journalism. In my wife's name, that check, signed by Karen herself, now sits framed in my wife's home office, a daily reminder that truth matters, that standing up works, and that no HOA rule, no smug rumor, and no clipboard queen can defeat a woman who refuses to back down. Karen almost ruined our lives with whispers and gossip, but in the end, her own words brought her down, and we came out stronger, closer, and more respected than ever.